Good morning, my people. I am the Oracle, Oshun Ajay. Today, I'm going to be summing up the reading that I did yesterday for XXXTentacion, because like I said at the end of the reading, I felt like I was all over the place, and there was a lot of revelations that I had, and I felt like I could come back and make everything that came out a little bit more clear to everyone else. Okay. So what, after I completed the reading and I was watching the video, I actually had, like I said, some revelations. I'm playing with my computer right now, trying to get where I can see my chat. Okay. So what I realized about XXX is that he was a fisher of men. Okay. Okay, why is my chat disabled? This is bullshit. I wanted my chat to be on. How do you disable the chat? How did that happen? Like, how did they do it? Wait a minute, y'all, because I wanted you guys to be able to read, actually talk to me, and I ain't never had to have my chat disabled. So how does that happen? Give me a minute. Let me see if I can enable the chat. Just say if y'all can still hear me. I don't know. I'm over here messing with the computer. If you can still hear me, just say was a fisher of men. Okay, he came here to basically, I don't know if for those of you who watched the reading, I talked about how I was dipped down into hell. And it was so that I would be able to understand the people on that level that I was actually trying to lift up from that level. And this is kind of what happened with him. This is why I was shown that. This is why I remember it. Okay, I'm trying to enable the chat. Let me see. Okay, enable live chat. Okay, so yeah, so I felt like he was dipped down in the hell, that his mission was very similar to mine, but we're doing things differently, of course, but I felt like he was sent here to lift people up out of the lower realms. Okay, now I think the chat should be able to be, it's still saying disabled. Okay, so if I'm not able to enable my chat, who damn disabled it? Okay, so anyway, so basically I'm just gonna lay down these facts, okay, so that there's a little bit more clarity, because somebody also had mentioned that the XXX, because the way that I broke down his name, XXXTentacion, the X stands for that which is unknown, basically to make someone anonymous, okay? And someone pointed out that it was also the 24th letter in numerology is 6, so that would be 666. And yes, that is the underlying foundation for the magic that was performed here. But the purpose of the X, when used to replace a name, such as, Quanell X, Malcolm X, Brother X, Sister X, is to make that person anonymous. Okay. Basically, a lot of Black people do this to renounce their ancestors' slave masters' names. Okay, so the X, when used to replace someone in a name, their name is used to make that person anonymous. And this was used in high magic to cross out his first name, Jase, meaning the sacrificial lamb of God, and to make sure that he was anonymous unto himself, to make sure this is high magic. And I know because I am a magi, I am a magician, I'm a sorceress, I'm a witch. This was to make sure that he never came to know himself. Okay, now what I do realize though is that regardless of all of the magic that was performed on this man, his spirit was so potent that he had still begun to wake up. Okay, and like I said, a lot of them did, which is why they end up being taken out, because they are divergent. Okay, he was waking up and he had begun to realize who he was, and he had begun to realize his mission. So since I did the reading, I've watched a few more videos of his, and I see that he's talking a lot about the kids, the youth. Okay, the same thing that I saw. And so him talking a lot about the youth, it was him beginning to express his true spirit and his true nature, because that was his purpose here, okay? To rescue the youth that was lost, okay, in those lower realms. The way he went about it was unorthodox, but what I realized after I did his reading also was that he has always been this way. He does not do this in a lot of ways. Spiritually, this young man reminds me of myself. We do not follow rules. We don't do things the way that people prescribe for us. Okay, we usually do something completely unexpected. So his teaching method, by way of going actually down the wrong road and showing them that it ends here, okay, in a dead end, to actually get on that road and allow yourself to end in that way, to have that profound impact on the people who are following behind you, was a very unorthodox way. But he let me know that he has always done things. He's never followed the rules. He's always been a rule breaker. He's always done things his own way, had his own mind, and been his own person. He's always, been different. Okay. So that was why his message came in the way that it did. It was like a double layered message. And I felt like the teachers who had come before him, by trying to actually be the example, had not been as effective as he could be, as if he actually got on that road and crashed and burned to actually demonstrate to the youth, to shock them. His whole premise was the shock value, the emotional shock for people. It was a way to basically, it was the wake up call, okay, for a lot of people. And a lot of them need that, because a lot of people who are on the lower realms and vibrating low are emotionally numb, okay, until something really important, something very profound happens in their lives, okay. So him being coming here and dying very young and living a very reckless life, he totally, I would say, he had a better understanding of what they would need as a catalyst for spiritual growth, more than I would, more than any of us would. So who are we to judge his method? Again, his most important thing was that it was effective. Okay, not that it was understood, not that it was pretty, not that it was acceptable, but that it was effective. That's all that he was concerned about. Okay. I feel like because it was known that he would be born on the day that he was born, I believe that his parents were also targeted in the spiritual realm, attacked, so that they could not be in their full power to be what he needed them to be in order for him to develop fully, which is why he had such a hard life. When I was meditating yesterday, I kept getting the words of the song "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls," and he kept making me hear that song because I guess that song kept coming back to his mind once he had gotten himself caught up, and he suddenly understood what the words of that song meant. It was too late though. You know, don't go chasing waterfalls by TLC. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. Uh, you know, he was basically trying to let you know what I'm saying? If you chase this waterfall, you're going to drop down into a much lower realm than you are now. You think you are now. Don't do it. So again, he had a lot of regrets, but again, all of those things melt away when you let go of the physical. Okay, so at the end of the day, he did fulfill his message. Another thing that he wanted me to point out was the ways in which young people use social media to perpetuate these uh, celebrity beefs. You know, be more mindful of the ways that we use this because, you know, they did this. You know, we did this. Um, we perpetuate these things and then we get shocked when something actually happens. Okay, I'm sure there's celebrity beefs right now. Now, the way that I know that he really was effective in changing some of these young people's minds, I've been listening to a lot of the young celebrity reactions to his death, and even they have been profoundly affected to where they are talking about making changes by letting go of beefs with people that they don't even know, by just being different, by trying to influence other people to be better. So I see his effect already on just the few people that I've already looked at. So it's just confirmation that yes, he has made a profound effect on his target demographic. Okay. Um, But yes, I just wanted to really clarify the fact that those three X's were put there to cover up his true mission. Okay, when you name something, you give it a nature. And by naming him Unknown Temptation, it was to make sure that he would never come to know himself and that he would give in to the temptations that would be presented to him to distract him from his mission. And even though all of those things came to pass, he still, his spirit, which was a very bright light, bigger than most, could still continue to rise to the surface. He was spiritually uncontrollable for these people, divergent, if you will. Because it was the will of the Most High, of the Creator God, the prime creator, the will of God that his mission be fulfilled, regardless of what mistakes that he made in the flesh, that those deeds would be turned into good. The will of God is basically what God wants to happen, and nobody can stop what God wants to happen. If anybody tries to tell you that there um, is another being, another entity in the universe that is just as powerful as God but negative, that is blasphemy. Okay, it is impossible to thwart the will of God. Okay, nothing happens that God does not allow to happen. Okay. This young man had a calling on his life, okay? And all the negativity that he caused will be turned to good, okay? And that has happened with a lot of entertainers. Again, I mentioned some yesterday, but you know, it's those people who have that bright light at the core who you can see the God in them. That you can never destroy that. You can only impair the minds of those people, which is why not only in Hollywood, but because it actually began with the military. This is why they use MK Ultra mind control a lot with celebrities to control them. But if these celebrities were um, grounded in their spiritual selves, uh, it would not be possible. Okay, and that is basically what's happened with these divergent uh, spirits. Okay, um, people who have the gift of singing, dancing, and all of the artistic gifts that come from on high, they are literally possessed with the spirit of the Most High when they're doing these things. When they are singing, when they're creating music, when they're dancing, they literally are embodying um, the Creator God. Okay, very powerful, and you cannot take a person like that off of their path. A person like that is magical. So no matter what path you throw them on, they will make that path magical. So if you dip a magical person down into hell, what they're going to do is attract as many moths as they can and pull them up out of there with them. And this is what has happened with XXXTentacion. He was a fisher of men. Okay, and it's not so much about his music as it is about his mission. So more than focusing on the music, now there are a lot of messages in the music, but a lot of them, if you look at the music, I think that you will see a lot of the agenda of those who were trying to program him. Okay, but if you look at his life behind the music, you will see more of what his mission, his spiritual mission here was. Okay. Also, I wanted to also I noticed that I don't know if it was his album cover, his last album cover, but it was a question mark. Also correlating to another one of the layers of the meanings of his name, Jase. Okay. The same part of his name again means to question reality, to question God. And it's not a wrong thing to question God. Okay, those who have their spiritual grounding in their spiritual selves, we understand that that which we call God is the only place where we will find the answer. Okay, other people don't have the answers. Okay, it is not a sin. It is not a mistake to question God. It is giving honor to the Creator, to go to the Creator, to acknowledge that you understand that being the Alpha and the Omega, that God is the only one who has the answer for you. It is not dishonorable to go to God with your questions. Okay, this also is blasphemy. Okay, when you see bow ties, when you see Buddha, when you see people sitting under trees meditating for 12 hours, these people are communing with their own internal spirit. Okay, they may appear to physically be under that tree, but in all actuality, they are traveling throughout the cosmos, entering into other dimensions and having other experiences. So, you know, what appears to be happening on the physical level is only a manifestation and sometimes a covering, like as in the situation with Triple X, when you have someone trying to program you to do something that is completely counteractive to your purpose for being here. There is going to be friction. Okay, when you are a son of God, you cannot be quote unquote programmed. You cannot be sunken. Okay, you can be misled. You can be made to misunderstand for a time. You can be lost, like I said, but you cannot be completely thrown off of your path. So eventually, this is why a lot of people have to go back and be reprogrammed every few years, because it is inevitable that the spirit will rise to the surface and begin to make you question the things that you're doing, make you question the road that you are on, make you question the way the reality works that you're in, make you question all of the things that you have accepted as truth but did not prove to be true to you. These are all aspects of your spiritual self. So because he had a calling in his name, no matter what he did, it would be made magical. It would be made to be beneficial. It would be made to fulfill the purpose that was bigger than XXX, but was the purpose that was given to Jase. He was beginning to decipher his purpose and therefore to know himself. This was the biggest fear of those who wished to control him. So I think he understood some, on some level. I know he understood. I feel like he was a very spiritual being, and I also feel like he was an empath. What happens with a lot of empaths, I know because it's happened to me, is that when we have suffered so much pain, we will go numb and appear to act as a savage. But at the core, you can never change who you are. So at his core, again, there was a conflict. If you watch his video, Sad, he actually depicts this conflict between his inner and outer self, okay? His higher and lower self, his light and dark self. They are all still the same dynamic, okay, of good and bad, good and evil, God and the devil, ego and spirit. It is all the same dynamic, okay? He depicts that internal struggle that we all have. We all have that internal struggle between our spiritual selves and our egotistical selves, okay? Our physical self, okay? At the end of the day, the spirit will always win because the physical does perish. And when we drop the physical vessel, all that is left is the light that we are, the life force that we are. The spirit takes the meat and leaves the bones of the physical experience. So, feeling guilt, feeling pain, feeling, all of those things are part of it's part of our psychological, it's in your mind, okay? Now your mind, your consciousness does follow you into the spirit realm, but when you cross over into the spirit realm, you have a greater understanding, okay? You have a different perspective of everything that happened. So it does take a moment of adjustment to see things from that new perspective, but doesn't take long at all, okay? Not an hour, what we would call a long time, because in the spirit, there really is no time. Time does not really exist. There is no time lapse between thought and creation, which is why I know that when we cross over, if we land in a dark place because of our beliefs, we're not only there for as long as we can change our minds, okay? And it doesn't take long to change your mind when you land in a place where you don't want to be, okay? With the simple change of your thought, you change your location. It is even more true outside of the body that where your mind goes, your ass will follow. Okay, so where you take your mind in the spiritual realm is where you find your consciousness. Okay, this young man had the most brilliant mind, and so there is nothing to worry about as far as him traveling through the dimensions and the cosmos. He instinctively knew where to go. Okay, so I just wanted to come back and I really wanted to have a two-way conversation. I don't know how my chat got disabled, but we will talk about it another day because I will go live and we can still talk about if anyone has any questions or wanted to discuss anything further. But I did want to come back and add those things that I actually realized about him after doing the reading and actually after I was watching it myself. Okay, so I did want to make sure that I was thorough in covering everything that came to mind. Actually, he wanted to make sure that I was thorough. He is a very thorough young man. Okay, so yeah, so thank you all for coming. If you do want to have a two-way conversation about this, we can definitely do it. I can go live later from my phone or from home, and I'll make sure I set up my live stream correctly. I don't even know why that. I've never had a live stream where my chat was disabled, so I feel like somebody didn't want the conversation to be two-way, but it is what it is. Us creators that speak truth, we tend to experience a lot of technical difficulties, if you will, here on YouTube. Okay. So until we meet again, my people, keep it classy, keep it clean, rest in peace. XXXTentacion, and do what y'all gotta do to make shit happen. Peace.